Hey guys, and welcome to the June 2019 Creativity Tarot readings. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Kayleigh Jean. If you're new to my channel, you are welcome to use these readings for your sun, moon, or your rising signs. So go ahead and check all of them if one of them doesn't resonate. And I just wanted to say to you, thank you so much to everyone who has been supporting my channel. This month, our Inner Workings topic is all about self-love. So if you're somebody who enjoys my channel and you get something beneficial from these readings and you want to support the work that I'm doing here, I am so grateful to you. And you have a couple of options on how to do that. So the Inner Workings topic is going to be posted on Vimeo, and it's going to be posted on the normal donations page. So if you prefer to donate to support my channel through my website, that option is revamped this time. I'm bringing it back. I was just exploring things last month. So you can donate to support this channel if you get something out of these readings and you want to say thank you. And just as an additional gift to you, I create the Inner Workings topic for each month, which is just a place for us to hang out and talk about spiritual topics. And I love hearing from you guys. And this month I am covering self-love, because it's such a buzzword and it's such a big topic, but I wanted to kind of take it deeper, and I wanted to share more intimately about my personal beliefs and my own personal thoughts on the concept of self-love, what it means, and how I measure it in my own life. And I'm also offering a tarot spread to help you connect to your own relationship with yourself. So that's going to be included in the Inner Workings topic. So I hope that if you're interested in supporting my channel, you will check that out. And I also wanted to say that I am going to continue creating the Vimeo extended readings. Have been a really great way for me to go deeper with the general monthly spreads that I do for you every single month. It's just a way for you to watch the deepening of the energies, especially if you feel that the reading is resonating to you. Then watching the extension is probably going to be even more connected to your energy, because these are just general readings, so they're not guaranteed to resonate with everyone every single month. Okay guys, those are my announcements. I will see you in the readings. Okay, Gemini, let's go ahead and get into your June 2019 tarot reading. As I was tuning into your energy, I was being shown someone that kind of had almost like a warrior energy, but it feels very strong to me. It didn't necessarily feel like it was highlighting the theme of combat necessarily or conflict, but more, it was almost like the Chariot card in a way where there's this sense of like purposefully moving forward in a direction that is very empowering for you, and kind of releasing yourself from like the sensation or the belief in competition, or like the sensation that you are somehow deficient in any way, or that you need to kind of look at what other people are doing and then find your own work, like your creative work, for example, coming up short in some way. There's something in this month for you, Gemini, that is all about like personal leadership and personal victory, and I feel like you are going to be succeeding a lot this month, but it's as a result of you kind of making the conscious kind of intention, I guess, that you are releasing fear, and that you're just going to allow yourself to be yourself and just to enjoy that process, and to allow yourself to kind of just do your work and just let go of the outcome and speak your truth and not be attached to how other people are responding to that truth, because there's a momentum that's happening for you, Gemini, and I feel like the more that you tune into that kind of personal momentum, the more that you're gonna feel like life kind of takes on a flow of its own, And it will get easier. You know, anything that you've been agonizing over, anything that you've been afraid of, I feel like you're gonna get a little bit more peace and a little bit more space around that this month. But it comes from making that conscious decision not to measure yourself against others. And also, I'm hearing like to assume positive intent in kind of like ambiguous or unclear situations. So, for example, if you are facing some sort of uncertainty in your life, Gemini, don't assume that everything's falling apart. Don't immediately go there in your mind. Like, or if somebody says something that is kind of neutral, but you could read kind of like negativity in it, refrain from that, even mentally. Like, definitely in terms of how you respond and react to people this month, I feel like that's also really important. But even on an internal level, if there's something that somebody says or some kind of event that happens and it's just neutral, like if you actually give yourself space and a moment to explore it, you're going to realize like, oh, that's actually neutral. That's not positive or negative. It's just neutral. Like, leave space for that and don't immediately start to get suspicious or assume anything. Like, just assume positive intent, if anything at all. If you're going to make any assumptions this month, assume that things are working out for you in the most beautiful way. Assume that the situation is unfolding perfectly. Assume that the universe has your back. That doesn't mean that you won't do the practical work necessary to create that personal victory for yourself that I do feel that many of you are experiencing or will be experiencing shortly. But it does mean that beyond just the things that you can do to improve your own life situation and the practical things that you can do to make yourself feel better, beyond that, you're leaving space for the fact that things are happening and unfolding for you in exactly the way that they need to. And that you can kind of let go of outcomes when you are just playing your part, Gemini. And that's a very peaceful place to be. And I feel like it's also a very successful place to be because you're doing you. You're doing yourself. You're doing your own thing. But you're allowing kind of the environment to help that along. So it's almost like they're just now giving me this image of like a sailboat on kind of like a current. For example, like in a river, like a big wide river, you don't necessarily have control over the way the wind is blowing, right? But you can angle the sails based on wherever the forces like are and what they're doing around you. And so in that way, you can sort of be a conscious co-creator of your destiny, but at the same time knowing and granting the universe the fact that you're not in control of all of the forces. You're just learning better and more efficient ways to work with them. So that's what was coming through in the meditation. I hope that's helpful, but I do feel like this is going to be a really exciting month for Geminis. I feel like if you've been wanting to see a little bit more motion or movement, I feel like this is going to be a really fun month for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at your cards. I'm using the new Palladini Tarot for this reading today. I have never used it before on this channel. So we'll see what messages it has for you. What's going on with my Geminis? What's going on with my beautiful gems? Happy birthday to my Gemini suns. What's going on with Gemini sun, moon, ascendant? Okay. Okay. And we're also going to get you, as usual, your Animal Spirit Oracle cards. These creatures may show up as additional symbols for you throughout the month of June, so pay attention for these creatures or their likeness. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got here. So we've got the bee and the tarantula. Interesting. So Gemini, the first thing that comes through here is that these are both creatures that are small and have like a I guess I want to say like a unique perspective on life in some ways, because the tarantula has 8 eyes. So there's the symbolism with the tarantula and any arachnid kind of energy. There's something there that has to do with perception and seeing more than maybe you would normally see. So having more avenues of perception that you're working with this month, perhaps psychically or intuitively, these things are coming into play, and you may feel yourself kind of seeing more or bearing witness to more in your life than you're used to, or realizing just that your intuition is getting stronger, and you might be noticing like subtle details of things that maybe you feel like you wouldn't normally catch, or that other people around you aren't catching. So that's the first thing that comes to me. The second thing is more based on just the traditional meanings of these cards. If you were to read the Animal Spirit Oracle Deck guidebook, the bee is very much related to our service in a community, and it's really about our place in the world, especially when it comes to career and like our path, our greatest path of service in our professional life, and anywhere where we're putting in a lot of effort in order to offer value. It's like where we can offer the most value. So Tarantula as well is a card in this deck that's associated with being at a crossroads. So one thing that I'm seeing here is that in relation to career and in relation to what you are going to be doing sort of with your life, if you want to word it like that, there's a big decision coming up for many of you, and it could be on the heels of some kind of completion, like maybe you are graduating from school or graduating from some kind of training, or maybe you have a kind of symbolized to yourself that you have accomplished some sort of skill set, or you've just finished implementing some sort of knowledge that now you are better able to use, and you're feeling more confident in your ability to use that knowledge for some kind of purpose that can help other people, because again, that comes back to the bee card. So there's some kind of acquisition or some sort of completion of the acquisition of a specific skill set or a body of knowledge. And you're now kind of like at this decision point, this crossroads, like, okay, where am I going to go with this? What am I going to do with this skill that I've amassed, or this knowledge that I've amassed? And, or for example, if you're graduating from school, what am I going to do with my degree? How am I going to use my certification? That kind of thing. These are like the focus points, but this is a very bright time for you. The bee is a happy card. It's a card of productivity and just well-being. Well, I could say well-being because there's a bee in the card, so that's pretty cute. But there's just a sense of life is humming, life is flowing, there's like energy around you. So that's really what I'm getting, is that this is overall, even though there may be some hard decisions that you have to make, Gemini, and you might feel like some anxiety about making the right choice, and we're going to get more insight into that with your cards, but despite whatever pressure you may feel, now that you are at this crossroads, or now that you are at this turning point, this is a really bright time for you. So I want you to enjoy the process and to not put too much stress on yourself about making all the right choices and making the right decisions, because the truth is there really is no such thing. There's always going to be opportunities for us to stop and regroup and reflect and change things down the road. So I want you to just kind of be in the present right now and enjoy the process, because this is your life, Gemini. This is one of those moments in time where it's easy to kind of forget, but this is your life. Like, this is a really empowering, important period, and this is it. You know, like, that's what I want to say when I'm looking at these, is like, this is it, Gemini. So be here, enjoy it, because what else is there? You know, tomorrow is an illusion. Yesterday is just a memory. So we don't ever know. So be here right now. Nine of Swords, Eight of Pentacles, the Fool, King of Wands, Three of Swords with Justice, Six of Swords, and the Ace of Swords. So it's really interesting because these cards are sort of mirroring each other. And what I'm getting is we're going to look at these cards kind of as they go through, like what I want to say are turning points or points of action throughout the month of June. But I'm also seeing like a clear narrative taking place in these cards that isn't bound by time. Like it's not bound by the week by week. There's an overall kind of narrative that's coming through that's going to be relative to each one of you in your own situations. And what I'm seeing is basically that if there's been a thorn in your side, Gemini, June could be the time when you come up with some creative solutions that require action on your part, and perhaps even that require objectivity on your part as well. But you are finding active solutions to some things that have been really causing you some struggle and strife. These solutions are, like I said, going to require your effort. They're going to require your participation, and they're going to possibly, for some of you, require you to surrender something in your life that has been a source of comfort or importance, or that it's just going to imply like a surrender in general. Like maybe you're not necessarily letting go of something, but you are surrendering to a new path that is emerging in your life. You're not going to have clear ideas of everything that you experience as you go through the month. You're going to be searching for knowledge. Around the time of your new moon in Gemini, which happy birthday, by the way, to those of you Gemini sun signs out there who are watching. I love you guys so much. Around the time of your new moon, which is on June 3rd, around June 3rd, there's possibly something that is causing you some stress. And it's like you're having to face what I would say is almost like one of your demons or something like that. And I don't mean that like literally at all. I just mean facing a fear or facing some kind of stressor that previously maybe you have just been struggling with the fact that you don't necessarily know how to even imagine like how you could solve this issue. It's like an issue that maybe you don't have control over, or maybe it involves other people who of course have their own free will, or they have their own situations going on, and you want to make that better, or you want to improve something, but you just don't have the power to do so. So that's what I would see kind of with this Nine of Swords energy around that time of your Gemini new moon on June 3rd, is that there's like a strong emphasis on, like, maybe some of you could feel your anxiety. If you are a Gemini, many Geminis do struggle with anxiety. And I myself have Mars in Gemini, which is like a very anxious placement for Mars as well. So I can relate to like the mental aspects of this, but you might feel like a little bit of that energy being heightened just a tiny bit, like the volume gets turned up a little bit on your anxiety around the new moon. But it's because something is like about to be addressed, you know? So there's been times, and maybe you can relate to this as well, there's been times where a situation got a tiny bit worse right before you got relief from it, or like the whole concept that the night is darkest before the dawn. It's that kind of thing where you might feel something is coming back to haunt you, or you might feel like some stress or some burden. But no, Gemini, now that you've heard this reading, you cannot fall prey to that darkness. Because you're listening to this reading, you are going to know that this is going to turn over into like a much more productive action on your part. So following that new moon energy where you might feel a little bit unstable or a little bit ungrounded, you might feel a little bit like electric, I want to say, like there's like electric energy within you. So you might feel a little bit restless or just a little bit anxious. Following that, we have the Eight of Pentacles, the Fool, and the King of Wands. So what I'm seeing here is that actually whatever that restlessness is, some of you, it might not even be anxiety. Maybe you're just feeling like you want to like do something, you know, you have a bunch of energy and you can't sleep. It could be that. And so that prompts you then to start taking actions that you wouldn't normally take because you have more energy. That could be what's going on as well. So keep that in mind for some of you out there. That could be what's going on, and it doesn't have anything to do with anxiety. But the Eight of Pentacles and the Fool and the King of Wands tell me that you're getting some new ideas with the Fool, and it's it's causing you to feel more like excited about looking to the future rather than looking to the future with dread or fear. It's causing you to start to look ahead of yourself with promise and with hope rather than maybe like some of the other emotions that you had been feeling about like whatever situation you were worrying about, because so often we worry about things in the future, right? Like we're worrying about all these potential things that could happen that most of them never do. So with the Eight of Pentacles, it prompts you to take some sort of either some sort of grounded action, maybe even study something. Like if there's something that you've been worrying about, maybe you just start researching it. Or maybe if there's some kind of skill that you're like, I really wish I knew how to do this because my like opportunities in life would be so much better if I just had like XYZ certification, or if I had this skill that I could put in my resume, or if I knew how to build my credit, or if I knew how to like even something simple like keeping track of finances in a different way. Like you're gonna probably sit down with yourself and be like, you know what, like I don't need to worry about this anymore. I just need to actually start it. Like I just need to, instead of worrying about the fact that I haven't done this yet or that I don't know how to do something yet, I just need to start thinking more positively and start thinking, okay, how can I get this momentum going for myself? For many of you, it could be related to finances because this is a pentacle card. So it could be something like if you're upset with yourself because you don't have a savings, or that you haven't been good at saving money in the past, or you haven't been good at managing your money. It's like instead of beating yourself up, you just start doing it. You just start it right now. And then 6 months from now, Gemini, you're going to be in a different position. You're going to have more momentum, or you're going to have improved your situation significantly. So it's not about beating yourself up about something you didn't do in the past. It's about being here now and doing the things that you know are going to benefit you in the future, which is that King of Wands. It's like taking charge. The Three of Swords and Justice with the Six of Swords and the Ace of Swords both have a very clear meaning in this reading, and it tells me that the second half of June is going to be very much about like cleaning house on like concepts and thoughts or beliefs that may have been holding you back a little bit. That's not most of what's going on, but there is an element of that with all of these swords and kind of like integrity energies and seeing things clearly. I see things being cleared up. I see you getting clarity about possibly past hurts or times when people have wronged you in the past. Some of you are getting like a sense of justice coming through on a situation that was very unfair, or that like in the past you felt like it was very unfair. And with the Justice card coming up, it's saying that for some of you there's potential for justice to finally kind of come through on that situation. It's also equally possible, and I intuitively am just getting a sense that this is for less of you, like this is probably just for a couple people out there, but some of you are having to accept that a previous situation that you feel was unjust is going to be taken care of by kind of like the universe, or like karma basically, and realize that maybe like human justice isn't necessarily going to come through on that situation. So there's two kind of avenues of kind of the idea of justice and fairness coming through with this pairing, where some of you are going to actually see that a situation kind of gets resolved in your favor if you feel like it's been really unjust to you, and others of you are going to surrender your need for revenge, if that's like something that's active within you right now, Gemini. I don't know if you actually have that, but if you feel like you want revenge, or if you feel like you've been wronged, you might have to just make peace with whatever happened and know that there is such a thing as cosmic justice, and there is such a thing as sowing what you reap. You know, so if somebody was sowing bad seeds and taking advantage of people, or being unfair, or creating an unsafe environment, creating hostility, or somebody betrayed you, you know, with the Three of Swords, that can sometimes be a factor. it's like you're kind of, it's not just that you're like still angry about it or anything. It's more like you're just accepting that there is that sense of reaping and sowing, and that everything will come back around no matter what, and you can kind of rest easier on that topic, because the justice, like cosmic justice, is very real. Like it's so real. Sometimes it takes a while to catch up with people, but I feel like there is this sense of peace that you're getting, that you have your own path basically. And for example, if this was a legal situation, like let's say maybe somebody was infringing on your copyrights, or they were ripping off your product or copying you, or they were doing something that was shady, and maybe they just went behind your back at work, or there's a work colleague that did something that was a little bit questionable or whatever. Like there's this sense that you are kind of able to create space around that, and you're able to just separate like yourself from the situation enough to see that your power is actually in your expansion. Like your power is being on the cutting edge, especially if it's like somebody's copying you, or somebody is taking your ideas and trying to make it seem like they were theirs. Like if, for example, in a work situation or whatever, it's like you're realizing that maybe you can't do anything about something that already happened in the past, but you are still the one on the cutting edge. Like your power is in the now, and the reason maybe that people could be doing things to harm you, or to harm your business, or to infringe on your rights in any way, is probably because on some level they know that they are like somehow more insecure about what they have to offer, and they think that what you have to offer is better. So, or like they think that for whatever reason, they need to emulate you, or they need to take concepts from what you're doing creatively, for example, because they don't have enough of their own actual inspiration, or because they're afraid that if it's like a corporate situation, they're afraid that everybody else is a lot more in alignment with you than they are with this person, and so they're just trying to kind of scramble to stay competitive with you. But it's interesting that this is coming up, because I also had a little shred of that coming through in the meditation about releasing the idea of competition, and that could be something that becomes an active theme for you around the third week of June, where if you are a Gemini and you have been agonizing over this subject, like if you've been really frustrated with somebody, even though you know it's not the biggest deal in the world, like you might be really frustrated with somebody who you feel is just not giving you enough like space, or not respecting your boundaries, or they're unconsciously associating themselves with you, or kind of like glomming onto your energy and trying to kind of pull on your energy. It's like you're realizing that you don't have to participate in that basically, and so you're getting that kind of freedom from something that has been like really aggravating in some way. So that's kind of what I'm seeing there. And then with the Six of Swords and the Ace of Swords at the end of the month, what I'm really seeing is exactly that. Like it's a continuation of that theme, where like maybe something that was just so up close and personal and hurtful to you, like a betrayal, or like all the situations I just described, now you're able to kind of move on, and you're getting that space that you need, and you're moving on with people who are more in alignment with you, and who are ready to kind of help you get to the next level. We also have the Ace of Swords coming up here. So this is about seizing your personal truth, taking charge of your life, having integrity, having your integrity shine through. So if there's been any situations where there was any like questioning about like your integrity involved in the situation, I feel like the Ace of Swords there is coming up to say that your involvement is kind of being verified, or your actions and their consequences are coming through with more clarity, and in a way that other people can recognize like where you're coming from. So there's a greater sense of alignment between your inner experience and how other people are defining you, which is always really nice. I mean, especially for a Gemini, because you are the sign of the twins, and so there's always going to be that kind of duality and that dual aspect coming through for you in different areas of your life, and it just feels really good to have your inner life and your outer life achieving more of an accurate reflection of each other. Like, that's something that's really satisfying for a Gemini. So I feel like you're going to have you're going to feel more understood, and you're going to know like your real supporters are there for you. Okay. So I'm going to get your extension cards. I'll probably take a peek. It's for Gemini. Gemini. Okay. I'm also going to draw your cards from the Soul Trees Oracle. Gemini feels like this one. And I'm going to get you also a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. And I'm also going to get you a card from the Bob Ross Oracle. Well, it's actually, I'm calling it the Bob Ross Oracle, but it's a deck of playing cards. But I just find this deck so charming. I've been using it in my own readings for quite some time, and I feel like it's so accurate that I decided to include it in the general creative readings this month. So I'll read that one for you. But just so you know, you don't ever need to go to Vimeo to do the extension reading. I just started offering these because people have been asking me for them. So I'm going to look more in depth at relationship energy, as well as just more in-depth messages about what's going on for you this month. So lots of Pentacle energy in the beginning, and then we have the Magician, Two of Pentacles in the Tower. We've got the Five of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Page of Swords coming up over that Three of Swords, which is actually nice. We have the King of Wands again with the Two of Cups and the Ten of Cups. So this King of Wands character that came through before could actually be a romantic interest for some of you as well. So we'll take a look at that. And then I wanted to read you your little Bob Ross message. So it says, painting will bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Super sweet and very, very true. So maybe working on some art this month, Gemini, could really help you to feel more excited and aligned and just in your power this month. But I do feel like ultimately this is going to be a really nice month for you, Gemini. And yeah, I hope that you enjoy yourselves. Happy birthday for those of you Gemini suns out there. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. All those things are really helpful for my channel, and really just amazing to get to connect with you guys every month. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have an awesome month in June. Bye, Gemini.